My name is Florian Engel. I'm the managing director of More Onion and the product lead on the technology platform. As I just mentioned, I'm actually based in Vienna, so a slightly different location, but in some regards a similar situation, being stuck at home to a certain degree. Let's make the best of it. So I will be talking about the new standard themes. Sorry, that should say themes. So the new standard themes that we've developed for the platform, and then I have a bit of a story to share about like the new name and the new look and feel of our platform. So let's get started with the new standard themes. So in short, what that means is that we will provide new standard themes for every client, and they look much nicer, they have more functionality, and they're sort of like a refreshed version of what we used to have, and then a wide range of new features that come with these themes. So some of you might know the standard themes. These are the ones that we set up for you when you join the platform. And it essentially means that we replace the logo and we adjust the color scheme to match your brand. Other organizations, or some of you might have what we call custom themes. So these are the type of themes that are really designed from scratch and then developed and created from scratch to really match the design 100%. Right now, I will be focusing on these standard themes, so the ones that can be adjusted to match your brand, but they are pre-designed, so to say. Some of the things that we've changed with these new themes is that we offer a wider range of different elements that will appear on the page, or different ways that your campaign installation will look like. For an example, if you use your front page as some sort of action center and you want to highlight different actions that you're running at the same time, we will have nice little teasers that showcase these actions. Obviously, a lot of the design or a lot of the attention is really on forms, because by optimizing the forms and how the usability of the forms works, that is sort of central to good conversion rates on any kind of pages, whether these are donation pages or online actions. Another thing that we've improved around forms is the form validations. So with the new standard theme, it will be much easier to get inline validations. So as the user is typing, you will get the little validation right next to the form field that is causing the issue. That is just an example of like a small thing that can have a pretty big impact on your conversion rates, and is one of the things that will be nice and new. Obviously, we're also designing all the other different elements that you already know, like the overlay that you can activate on thank you pages and share pages, so you can have multiple asks on the same page, but there's always just one ask at a time. The share functionality is slightly improved, and the design is overhauled. We're obviously creating designs for all the different elements of social proof that you can use on your page, such as the live ticker. And at the bottom, you can see like donation forms and progress bars and things like that. So there's a wide range of different features. I won't be showing you all of them, but this is just so you can get a quick sense of what this looks like. What's also new is that all the new standard themes will have the ability to activate sticky buttons on mobile. So on mobile phones, you don't have to place the form at the top of the page. You can actually use sticky buttons. So these buttons will always be visible, and if the person taps them, they will be scrolled to the form. And the same thing goes for a nicer desktop experience. So if you have a very short form, you can set that to be sticky, so it will actually scroll along. In that sense, we'll have a range of different features that you can use to experiment and see what delivers the best conversion rates for you. But the biggest change, if you ask me, is that we're introducing page layouts. So you can, with the new standard themes, you will be able to create different versions of the page layout. For an example, you can have like a wide background image, like in this case. In the past, with the standard theme, it used to be just a simple 2-column layout on desktop. And what we're introducing now is the ability to add images and slightly more creative and different page layouts. To give you a sense of what this means, as I mentioned, we used to have just 2-column for the new default theme and the standard themes. With premium themes, you could always have all types of different designs and layouts, but not with the cheaper standard option. So what you can see here is the different options. For an example, if you wanted to have like a large background image and all the form and all the content sits above that background image, that's not possible. The other thing is if you want to have a large image at the top and the form is probably overlapping that a little bit, but there's loads of space for content further down the page. These are all variations that you will be able to activate and add to your standard theme. So a few other ways that the standard themes are really way better than what we currently have. The first thing is that it's much faster for us to roll them out for you than creating custom themes from scratch. Obviously, with custom themes, there's an entire design process, and then we have to schedule the development time, and that takes a while. And then a developer or two have to spend a couple of weeks on delivering the entire theme. With this new theming system, the way it works is that we can add a few hours of a designer and a few hours of a developer, and they will collaborate to then modify the standard theme to a degree that it really matches your brand and it really works for the purpose, but it doesn't require quite as much time. And obviously, there's some constraints to that, so we can't just change the design entirely. But with sort of working with those constraints, we can deliver new designs fairly quickly. And the other thing is that it's much more affordable. So if what you really need is just a large background image for a certain page, or for a specific use case you want to have a slightly different look and feel, then that is now possible at a much lower cost through page layout variations. And I've already mentioned a few of these optimized elements or new elements that we're releasing. Again, a lot of these features have already been available for certain custom themes, but that is at a very different price point. So we're now making those available to everyone. And the last point that I want to mention is that this is the new system for how we develop themes. So that means whenever a theme is developed with this new system, it's very future-proof. It will be migrated to the next generation of our platform. As you know, we are gradually working towards the next generation, and that happens bit by bit. So every couple of months, we actually replace an entire part of the platform with a newer, better piece of software. And that is a gradual process that will take place until sort of probably the end of 2021. So within that period of time, we are also migrating all the themes. And what that means is if you choose to use a new standard theme, those will be migrated to the next generation without any additional budget needed or any additional input, because it's already the new system. So a few technical improvements that we've made. I will not talk too much about technology unless you specifically ask questions about it, because but for those of you who do enjoy a bit of background information, the new standard themes are based on Zurb Foundation, which is a framework for front-end development. So this is widely used in the web development community. It's therefore very standardized, but also the pieces that we are developing are very standardized. This standardization is what makes it possible for us to deliver these themes at much lower cost, because every client has certain pieces of functionality or certain pieces of the theme that are standardized. So by changing or improving them for one client, it's improved for everyone. The third point is that it is decoupled. So a lot of most of the CSS and JavaScript, sorry for the technical language, will be completely independent from the platform. So it can actually be used locally, and it's very easy to just set up locally. So the development workflow is much smoother. And of course, the last point is that we have an auto deployment. So the way that these technical changes then are being brought live or to a staging environment is also improved. So what you can actually get. First of all, you can get a new standard theme. A new standard theme, that means that we adjust the color scheme, the logos, and the typography. And this theme will be available to you. So when you set up an action, it will probably be activated by default. Or if you have multiple themes, you will have like a little select box to switch between different themes. So if you need one theme for one action, another theme for a different action, that will also be possible. The cost starts at £950, but every client who's already a client will get one of these new standard themes free of charge. So the standard theme comes with what we call the default layout. So the default layout is the simple 2-column layout that you can see on this screen grab. And this will be available to all of you, as mentioned. And if you want to add either page layout variations, we'll be talking about that in a second, or you want to have like multiple designs for some reason, then the cost of implementing one of these designs would apply. So page layout variations, I've just mentioned the default will be included in what you just get for free, because you're all existing clients and we want to make sure that you have the opportunity to just migrate to the next platform without any difficulties. So the default is the 2-column one that is included. If you want to add a page layout variation, so you want to have a theme that allows you to add a background image or a large banner image, that sort of thing, then that comes at an extra cost. The way this works is that the layout variations, this is the total cost depending on how many layout variations you buy. In this case, the price will actually, for all existing clients, is actually, you can actually take the £950 off this price that's currently listed. So sorry if that's a bit confusing. So if you will have one page layout variation, that is about 1.5K for the first time as we're helping you migrate to the next generation. Obviously, if you buy all page layout variations, you will be very flexible and you can have all of these different types of designs available to you, and that is then discounted. So the more different variations you get, the cheaper it will become. The other thing that we're introducing is something we call bonus packs. These bonus packs will not be introduced, they will actually be introduced in January 2021 or gradually after January. So bonus packs will be little collections of things that you can also add to your theme that allow you to, for an example, present content in a slightly more creative way, or have specific fundraising functionality or ways to show content on donation pages that not everyone might need. So the idea behind bonus packs is that if you have a very specific use case on how you use the platform and what you want to achieve with it, we will create these, again, standardized, pre-designed elements and little pieces of functionality that you can then add to your pages. So we'll be talking about bonus packs as we're rolling them out. This is just a quick sort of pointer that is going to happen later. So briefly, the timeline before we pause for questions. So the first default layout, the first default themes will be launched in July, so in about a week. So that's the first time we're launching these for some of our clients. Then we're going to have the first page layout variations available at some point in August. So depending on which page layout variations you want and you need, we will obviously prioritize those to deliver them faster than others. Bonus packs will be available starting in January 2021. So we will keep you posted about the progress on those. And the thing with these themes in general is that we're going to keep extending them, and we'll be launching new page layout variations and new things and new bonus packs, and all that's going to happen within the next couple of months. There will always be like one or two small things that we're going to do each week that will be released, and we'll let you know about these. So before we pause, when can you actually get a new theme? So other than migrating to the new platform, if you have a rebrand, you might want to get a new theme to reflect the change in the changes in the brand. Or if you're working in a coalition, there might be some sort of branding for the entire coalition, or and sometimes it makes sense to actually make sure that your action pages or donation pages match the brand of the coalition. And the other thing is campaign-specific themes. So sometimes a campaign can have a bit of a brand on its own, or it's like a sub-brand of your organization's brand. And in those cases, the part of the reason why we've built this new system is because we want to make it much more accessible and affordable for you to be able to have multiple types of designs on your action pages and donation pages, and to also roll out new ones fairly quickly. In looking at your existing themes, we now have about 12 months to make the switch to the new theme system. So as I've already mentioned, you will get one of the default standard themes for free. And if you want to have page layout variations, you can sort of just top it up, and we will make that happen for you. And of course, the premium custom themes. So if you have a custom theme already and you want a new custom theme, then we'd be happy to have that conversation with you. But part of the reason why we're introducing the new theme system is because we think that there's currently a bit of a gap. So we only offer, or we used to only offer, like the version that just comes with the platform, that is very basic, and then premium themes all the way on the other end of the spectrum. And we're hoping that new themes will sort of fill that gap and provide you with more options. So that's it. At this point, I would probably briefly pause for questions before I proceed.
We've got a few that have come through in the chat. The first was, Alicia said, will the old/current forms continue to exist when we migrate to the new generation?
Yes, in short, yes. The themes themselves don't really have that much to do with the content or the forms, but as part of the migration to the next generation, we will work with you to, on one side, ensure that like all the stuff that really needs to be migrated will be migrated, and on the other hand, like ideally you won't even notice that switch that much. But having said that, there might be a point where for specific types of actions, we will be in touch with you to see like who actually uses which types of actions. And if there's some sort of work required, then we will definitely be in touch and work with you to make sure that it's a smooth transition. So it won't just disappear overnight, if that's sort of what you're asking.
Does that answer your question? I can't see or hear you.
Okay, that does answer my question. Does that mean we have 12 months to make the transition with you to be moving over to new forms, but so it's not overnight, but we do need to move across to the new ones you're offering?
Oh, sorry, what I meant is it's 12 months to transition to the new theme system. So that is just the design side of things. When you say forms, for me, that is the piece of functionality that allows you to create the form and then displays the form to the user and all the features around that. And that is like a separate part of the platform, so to say.
Perfect, that's great, thank you.
And we had a question from Ed, which is, so the theme is colors and typography and a variation is layout, is that correct?
Yes, we've actually spent quite a lot of time thinking about the terminology. So the way that we're calling one theme a thing that creates that makes a design possible. and from our point of view, the design is mostly the coloring, as you say, the shapes, the typography, and things like the logo. Whereas what we call page layout variations, those will be variations on things like the wireframe. So if you completely remove the visual design layer and you only talk about wireframes, where to place which different elements, that would be usually where we draw the line between what is a page layout variation and the theme. So every theme will have the feature to have multiple layout variations. Does that clarify the terminology?
Yeah, that's great. Thanks. I understand now. Thank you.
And one more through from Stephen. Will there be a cost for development hours to create the new standard theme?
The new standard theme as an existing client, to get one new standard theme, there is no cost. Like it's one is offered for free, because that is also what we offer to new clients. So if you join the platform, if you need that to be customized and you want to buy things like page layout variations, then there's a cost to it. But what we're doing with the new standard theme system is that we're trying to get rid of all these sort of here a few hours of support and here a few hours of development. We're trying to package it into one thing that has a fixed price, and that is what we're doing here. So if you're comparing it to making changes to existing themes at the moment, which is probably going to happen through support, and then we're going to say, oh, it's probably going to take that many hours, is that okay with you? In this case, it's quite different, because we're saying, here's the package, this is what we're going to be doing. The only fee that comes into it is if you want to activate different pieces of functionality at a later point. So let's say you get a new default theme, a new standard default theme now, and like 6 months from now you want to add like page layout variations, then there's going to be a fee attached to that, to make sure that we have enough time to handle the project. But that is all reflected in the proposal that we're going to be sending you, where it's quite clear. So it's not based on hours anymore. I suppose that's what I was trying to say. It's more of a fixed pricing for these specific features. Does that answer the question?
Yeah, great. Thanks for that. That answers my question.
Cool.
Cool. I've got a few questions from Ed. Can I make my own custom theme / variation, and will you be sharing the tools to do local development?
Yes. Let's start with the first one. You can create your own one. The question is just about maintenance. So we will not be in a position to be able to maintain themes that you have developed, because that would then be sort of your responsibility. And as it already happens, we will have to do a code review to make sure that the code that runs on the service is fine. But yes, that is definitely an option, and I'd be happy to have a conversation with you about this later on. But the last thing that I was going to share is with the development environment, like we are going to share something at some point. I just can't tell you exactly when that's going to be, but it's probably going to be like a very small environment with like some dummy HTML pages that you can just boot up and start developing locally. And then you're going to have your own Git repository on our servers with a build process attached to it. And that is how it's going to work.
One more. Have you done any research with users on the new layout variations?
Do you mean with users of our technology platform, or do you mean with supporters?
I'm going to stop being Ed's voice and let him.
I meant end users, not people like me. Yeah.
So end users, our experience with page layout variations is that it's mostly about the context. So I don't think there's one page layout variation that is simply the best and that's always going to perform much better than every other variation. If that was the case, then we would just offer one, to be honest. So in some cases, I think for colder audiences, you might need slightly more space for content, for copy, depending on where the supporters are coming from. they may need a bit more sort of visual introduction or something that draws them in before they're prepared to actually take action. Other supporters from your email list, they're probably just going to want to fill in the form, right? So depending on these different audiences and different sources of traffic, I think different page layout variations are going to work better for some of these. So the short answer is I don't think there's one solution, we've seen a range of different tests and done a range of different projects where that is really dependent on the audience.
Do you want to ask your next question, Ed?
This is my last one, everyone, I promise. How is the share functionality being improved? You mentioned that at the start.
One of the things that might sound a bit small to some of you, but one of the issues that we've had in the past was around how the icons work and how that is being displayed and how that is being replaced. So one of the issues when customizing the old theme and to make sure that it matches the color scheme or to make sure that it matches the brand was that the way that the icons would work in combination with the background color was not very flexible. So that is just one quick example to give you. The other things are that it's much easier now to just use the markup because we're using Foundation. It's all standardized HTML. So what that means is it's much easier for you to then just go in and copy and paste a piece of HTML and just place it somewhere. And it will always be the exact same HTML and it will always look great because it's designed to be moved around, so to say. It's much more standardized and therefore more flexible in the application. That is the second way that I would say the share buttons have improved. Thank you.
I think your last little bit that you said opens up a lot more questions, actually, but I'll stop.
Do we have any other questions about the new theme system? I mean, obviously, we'll have plenty of time to discuss it with you afterwards. And if you have any questions, you can also just pop us a quick email.
No, there's no more questions in the chat panel. So if you want to move on, Florian.
Okay. This is a short, but for me at least, really exciting bit. So we've been talking about the future of the platform for probably the past 2 or 3 years, because as I mentioned, we're constantly replacing pieces of the platform and we're improving it. And all that is fantastic. But one of the things that we've also wanted to improve for quite a while is how we name and how we present the platform. So Campaignion is going to become Impact Stack. Impact Stack is going to be the new name of the platform and the product. And with that, we're also going to be changing the design and the whole branding and a few elements around it. So just so you get a sense, like Impact Stack is all about showing how powerful the platform is, and at the same time also connecting it to our core values. And our core values are not going to change. They are still that we want to develop a platform that is open and works really well with other systems and has great integrations. It's still a platform that sort of centers is all about like empowering you as organizations, as campaigners, as fundraisers to create impact. And at the same time, it's also about the power of using a tool that is really easy to use and as I mentioned, like gives you sort of the tools you need to create impact. So why have we decided to rebrand? It's not because we're changing our legal structure or because someone just bought our platform. None of that. It's the same people, it's the same team, it's the same core values. But we started off, I think, 7 or 8 years ago and developed the first pieces of the platform. And as we did that, we didn't realize that we're actually building a software platform. At the time, we were just building very specific pieces for a few organizations, for specific campaigns, and they grew into a platform. And when we realized, hold on, this is actually something that a lot of organizations could benefit from, let's make that available. the name we settled for was the companion for campaigning. So by mashing up these two words, we ended up with the name Campaignion. Now we still really think in the same way. So we want to be the companion of campaigners and fundraisers, but there are a few issues with the name. One of them is obviously that it's just about campaigning, but our platform is about advocacy as well as fundraising, as well as engagement. So it's a much wider range of things that we cover now. The other thing is that the new brand really reflects how the next generation of the platform that we're moving towards is structured. So it's actually a stack of different pieces of functionality that work really well together, but you can also take out one of the slices, one of the pieces of the stack, and replace it with something else. Or for an example, we don't have an email marketing tool. So depending on which email marketing tool you integrate with, that is one of the slices in your stack. But we will make sure that it still feels and works like one piece of technology that empowers you to create impact. As I've already mentioned, sort of the core values are still going to be the same, but we believe that the brand impact stack actually communicates these values much better and is therefore really suitable. And the last thing is obviously, like with Campaignion, with Impact Stack, we're not going to have any problems pronouncing, spelling, or Googling the name. As many of you have probably had conversations with colleagues about like how to pronounce it, or at least we have had a lot of these conversations. At some point, we even started collecting different ways on how people are pronouncing it, just to illustrate like how it's just not a great word to be using in any language, really. Like the point is that we need something that works, is easy to say out loud and spell. So thank you. That is it. Do you have any thoughts or input on the new brand, and what's your feeling about that?
I would say that yeah, I like that it doesn't look very campaign focused anymore, because like a lot of charities are kind of reshifting their focus on how they talk to their audience, and that like it's not the main focus anymore. And so I feel like it fits more with our kind of vision and mission as well, to be called an impact stack. And I just like saying it. That's quite fun. I've just said it out loud. That was nice.
That's good to hear. Thank you. Yeah, one of the most obvious changes that you'll all see is when you start logging in, you will see that the logo has changed. That is the point where we're really going to rebrand. We just thought we'd give everyone a bit of a warning. So within the next couple of weeks, we're going to sort of gradually tell everyone about this, and then we will release we will change the logo on the interface when you log in, but we'll also release the website and things like that. So.
Okay, thanks, Florian. If you've got any other questions or thoughts, everybody feel free to pop those in the chat, or yeah, feel free just to speak up. We're a relatively small group. So in terms of what happens next with the new themes, everybody will have had an email with a link to the proposal explaining kind of how it's all going to work. I'll be following up individually with clients over the next few weeks. So we'll be getting in touch to talk to you about whether you do want to commission some additional layout variations, or whether you're just happy to wait for the standard default to roll out to you. So I'll be in touch over the next few weeks. But if you're keen to get started, if you've got a layout variation that you'd really like to see and be able to start using as soon as possible, do feel free to get in touch as soon as, and we can get that work scheduled very quickly. As Florian highlights, one of the benefits of this new system is that we'll be able to roll out new themes for you much more quickly than we could before. So that brings us to the close of the kind of formal part of this meeting. So I'm going to turn off the recording,